Welcome to Real Truth Real Quick. My name is Adam Tarno, joined as always by Todd Wagner.
Hello, Adam. Hello, friends.
All right, Todd, every time the elections come around, we run into this question. So the question today is this: should Christians be single-issue voters?
Boy, it's great. And as is always the case, you really want to understand the question. I think there are issues that Jesus says are of first import that we ought to always care about. But if I was going to give a quick answer, I would say, no, there's not a single issue qualifier, but there are single issue disqualifiers. Let me just, before we get to some of the topics that may be those things, let me just talk about how we choose elders first, all right? So in 1 Timothy chapter 3, it says that an elder must be above reproach, must be the husband of one wife, must be temperate, must be prudent, must be respectable, must be hospitable, must be able to teach, all right? So if I've got a guy who's all those things, but they are addicted to wine, all right? They're alcoholic, they're a drunk, okay? Or they have an anger problem, they're not gentle, which are the next two characteristics there in 1 Timothy chapter 3. If they're only one of those things that are on that list that is prevalent in their life that shouldn't be, they are single issue disqualified, okay? There's not a guy who's not addicted to wine that is automatically somebody that should be appointed as elder. There's not somebody who's free from the love of money and yet is not above reproach in other areas of their life that you should make an elder. So in that list, there are single issue disqualifiers, but not single issue qualifiers. How does this relate to our question at hand? I'll give you one more illustration before I do. Adam, you married a lovely woman, Miss Jackie now Tarno. What was Jackie's maiden name again?
Lynn.
Jackie Lynn. All right, remember her well. And I would just say when you married her, you didn't just say, you know what, she likes baseball. Okay, so I'm voting for Jackie. You didn't say, hey, she's an attractive, cute girl who likes me. I'm voting for her. Because if Jackie likes you, but also likes the mailman, okay, you would say, there's going to be a single issue disqualifier, even though there's a lot of other issues I really like. And I say all this because I think as a believer, as somebody who has been bought with a price, and that we are to glorify God with our body, and I think glorify God with our vote, there are certain things that we would say disqualify a potential candidate. I always love to tell people, I want to know who rules my ruler. And if there are people that want to make laws that say that life in or out of the womb is to be treated as harshly as I desire to treat it. So a racist, that is a single issue disqualifier for me, okay? Somebody who wants to make rape a misdemeanor, that is a single issue disqualifier for me. Somebody who says that a child can be aborted up until the second they're out of the uterus, that is a single issue disqualifier for me. In fact, anybody who says that life in the womb isn't as valuable as out should be. Now, it begs the question, well, what about those folks who are pro-life, but maybe have immigration policies that I'm against? You know, people have said, well, I care as much about the child at the border as I do as much as the child at the womb. I would say, me too. And if there's any candidate that said we should kill children at the border, that's a single issue disqualifier, okay? We've done a Real Truth real quick on immigration. I would encourage people to watch that. All I would just say is, look, there have been some policies that have been adjusted by, for instance, the current administration about the way they were handling people at the border, that they heard the will of the people and they adjusted it, okay? One of the reasons that certain children are treated the way they are at the border is because some people bringing kids across the border aren't even their parents. And we got to figure out, is this a sex trafficker? And so we separate them for a season to interview them and to figure that out. I don't think anybody would be arguing against that. So when you hear parents are separated from their kids at the border, let's realize we're doing that because not everybody who's bringing a kid across the border is a parent. All right? Now, if we're just being irresponsible with those kids, if we're making those kids vulnerable or we're killing those kids, they're disqualified as a candidate, in my opinion. All right? So there are issues that I may not agree with certain strategies that people have, but not agreeing with a strategy is different than agreeing with somebody who says, I believe that what we should do is be racist or be murderous towards certain life. That is a single issue disqualifier.
So if somebody is listening and they're looking at the candidates in the upcoming election and they're saying, hey, both candidates have single issue disqualifiers, what do you encourage them to say?
Well, I would just say, hey, we did a whole Real Truth real quick on that topic. What do I do if I don't feel like I can vote for either candidate? Yeah. All right? But I would make sure that you're not falling in love with a winsome personality, that you're not falling in love with somebody who's more with it, who because Willie Nelson likes him, you like him, okay, when they have disqualified themselves with other positions. right? That's a bit of a tell on one of those positions for me. Anybody who believes that we shouldn't value life, that is a disqualifier. And we've actually done a Real Truth real quick on how should a Christian feel about the abortion issue, all right, with my friend Stephanie Gray, which folks should watch if they think there's any equivocation there, all right? But all I would just encourage folks to do is to make sure that they care about the things that God cares about. All right, not, again, strategies towards certain economies or certain laws. We all agree we've got to be a nation of laws, right? You may not agree with his immigration laws, but that's different than saying we can be lawless towards a specific group of people in terms of race or even gender or age. We don't want to make that mistake. So until Jesus runs for office, as we say in another one of those episodes, there'll never be a perfect candidate. Okay? And I don't necessarily believe that voting sometimes for one of the two candidates that's not going to win is a wasted vote. A vote for righteousness is never a wasted vote. But voting for somebody who is for the murder of children, as an example, that is not just a wasted vote. That's a disobedient vote. Okay? And I think I can make a strong case from that biblically. So, one issue qualifier? No. One issue disqualifier? Yes. Just because somebody's pro-life, if they're pro-racism, you shouldn't vote for them. But be careful what you call racism, right? And be careful what you call, when you equivocate separation at the border with separation from life.
That's great. Great answer, Todd. Check out the show notes for those other episodes that he referenced. Those will be really helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again next time.